Israel is Jews worldwide.
America has never flinched from its commitment to the state of Israel.
America and Israel have a special friendship.
I gotta be careful the way I say this. They're gonna try to ethnically cleanse Gaza. They're talking about basically removing 2.5 million people from there, okay? There are some serious questions here, Patrick.
What's your reaction to seeing those photos?
Horrific. Last week, they even went to a point further than starvation called famine. Worst food hunger you can get into.
Wow. Highest number of child amputees worldwide. I mean, it's just sickening that we're doing this to kids. What crime did they commit? We gave Netanyahu a blank check.
Would it be your impression that many of our politicians are under Israeli influence?
That's such a mild way to put it.
Mainstream media is been taken over by extremist groups. Most of what you see is either AI or footage used from Syria.
The IDF commanders we spoke to said they are the most ethical army in the world. They're the most precise.
That's complete bullshit.
I do know that Hamas would have their weapons depots under hospitals.
There's a reason that Hamas operates out of schools and hospitals.
With Israel being questioned now more than ever, I went to Washington, D.C. to investigate the claim of whether Israel is our greatest ally and looked in particular into the influence of AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, on our elected officials. And we also examined the war in Gaza, asking whether Israel truly lives up to its claim as the world's most ethical army, or whether we are witnessing serious human rights violations funded in part by our U.S. tax dollars. To look into this, I spoke with U.S. senators like Ron.
So this is one of the scariest pieces that we ever worked on, and it's crazy as a journalist that you have to be afraid to ask questions or investigate the truth. So let's just start off with some ballpark statements from doing this video, and that's not true. I don't hate anybody. There's not one person in this world I hate, and yet it's necessary, which I believe this is. So what we're going to do is use very American principles, which is questioning the narrative, questioning our government, and questioning foreign governments. We're allowed to do that. People have died for that right, and people will continue to die to fight for that right. So this is to freedom of speech, this is to investigation. Now folks, let's jump into the video. You got arrested right around here.
Well, inside in the Senate Foreign Affairs Committee chambers.
You're a lieutenant colonel?
Yeah.
Ex-Green Beret?
Yep, 25 years.
What was that like getting arrested?
It felt right.
This is Anthony Aguilar. He served as a U.S. Special Forces soldier for over 20 years, and after the horrific things he witnessed as a mercenary manning the aid stations in Gaza, he has decided to come forth as a whistleblower, sounding the alarm for what he says are massive human rights violations. Here's what he had to say.
There are some members of our Congress, in the Senate and the House, that are compromised by a foreign government. I don't know what the compromise is, whether it's, pictures of them doing something embarrassing, if it's money, if it's promise of a few, like, hey, we back you for this next position. I don't know what it is.
Folks, the Israel-Palestine conflict stretches back generations, but for today's episode, we will be focusing on the past 2 years. Let's rewind back to October 7, 2023, when Hamas executed what's widely regarded as the worst terrorist attack in Israeli history. A coordinated operation used rocket barrages, motorized armed paragliders, and foot soldiers that swept through Israel, killing approximately 1,200 Israelis and taking around 250 hostage. Similar to how Americans responded to 9/11, Israel reacted to the horrific carnage by mounting a full-scale military operation, with their main objectives being to rescue Israeli hostages, eliminate Hamas military and leadership, and prevent Hamas from ever again being able to threaten Israel. As of late, some people have begun questioning the Israeli official narrative of October 7th.
Was there a stand-down order?
According to IDF testimony from the Knesset, the legislative body of Israel, IDF soldiers claimed they were told to stand down from patrol on the morning of the attack. Adding fuel to the controversy, Netanyahu's right-wing coalition voted against having a state-run inquiry into October 7th, despite polls reporting that roughly 70% of Israelis wanted one. That has helped spark conspiracy theories suggesting Israeli intelligence may have had prior knowledge of the attack. After all, Mossad is widely regarded as the best intelligence agency on the planet, and the level of surveillance they had over Gaza is incredible.
Are there IDF soldiers that are purposely targeting civilians and just kind of willy-nilly shooting people?
So willy-nilly shooting, yes. The IDF utilize machine gun fire, shooting machine guns, shooting bullets at people to control the crowd.
An Israeli newspaper reports saying that soldiers were ordered to shoot at unarmed civilians waiting for food aid in Gaza.
I experienced that with a young boy named Amir in distribution site number 3. And this young boy, without shoes, who had walked 10 to 12 kilometers, and when he came up and he got meager scraps from the ground, not a box of food, not a meal, he came and thanked us. He and others were killed. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation has come forward with a press release last week where they showed, oh, this young boy that Mr. Aguilar said he saw on this date, we scoured the earth and we found him, and here he is. The boy that they featured in that is not the boy that I saw on the 28th of May.
So it's propaganda.
It is propaganda. They are lying.
Now, GHF, the organization running the aid station that Anthony worked with, came out with a statement refuting Anthony's testimony by poking holes in at least one aspect of his story. They say the kid that Anthony claimed had died, a little 8-year-old boy named Abdul, is actually alive and well, and they have video proof of it, and therefore we should believe none of Anthony's testimony. However, let's also share Anthony's side of the story. He would make the case that unfortunately the lead reporter investigating whether the kid was actually alive or not, Mohammed Salama, was killed in an airstrike by the IDF when the Nasser hospital was bombed live on camera multiple times. This horrific bombing of one of the last functioning hospitals in Gaza showed aid workers and journalists being killed. When asked about this, both our politicians and IDF soldier contacts maintained that the aid workers and journalists were Hamas. Here's the footage of the men who died in the airstrikes. Tell me in the comments if you think they are Hamas.
So my name is Doron Kedar. I'm a sergeant major in the Israeli Defense Forces, today in reserves.
This is Doron Kedar. He is an IDF veteran of 20 years, and he is currently serving as a Special Forces reservist. He is the host of the Doron Kedar podcast and a strong voice advocating for the Israeli perspective.
Mainstream media is been taken over by extremist groups from the far left, wokeism, Islamist groups, socialist groups, Marxist groups.
In my experience speaking with IDF soldiers and pro-Israeli politicians, there seems to be a common playbook when it comes to tackling any criticisms of Israel. In my conversations with these guys, I've been called an anti-Semite, a Jew hater, told I've been thinking like a Nazi, and even accused of bearing responsibility for the horrible attack recently in Manchester, simply for asking questions that I think most of us have. But folks, I am a lover of all people, Israelis included, and these smears will not stop me from questioning what I see.
Most of what you see is either AI or footage used from Syria and or Iraq and or other countries.
What do you think the true number of dead civilians is?
That is probably looking more at maybe 20%, maybe 30%.
By war standards, it's still pretty darn high, right?
No, the opposite. What they will tell you is that Israel's ratio for civilian to combatant is actually much lower than the war in Afghanistan and Iraq. Basically, our ratio has been 1 combatant to maybe 2 civilians.
The case Doron is making here is that the numbers out there that were allegedly leaked within Israel are actually false, and the civilian casualty rates are not so horrible, and that these numbers are fabricated by woke/Hamas-influenced media. So we sat down with Dr. Aziz Rahman, a man in Milwaukee that actually volunteered at Nasser Hospital in Gaza for 2 weeks, and we hear what he saw boots on the ground.
Dr. Aziz Rahman, I practice here in Wisconsin. Yeah, I was in June 2025. I was in Gaza at Nasser Hospital, which is in Khan Yunis, which is in the south of Gaza. I probably saw thousands of patients. I probably treated hundreds of patients. I actually did surgeries myself on maybe 50 to 75 patients.
The IDF commanders we spoke to said they are the most ethical army in the world. They're the most precise, that the minimal amount of civilian casualties are being expended with them. What would you say to that?
That's complete bullshit.
What is a PAC, and how do they function?
They make contributions to candidates. A traditional PAC they are able to make contributions directly to candidates. They collect money from their members or other people who are interested in their cause and support their policies, and then they deliver it to the candidates.
There are members of our Congress that are compromised. That is a fact. Those that are compromised because they get the backing of AIPAC and they get the backing of Israel, their voices are amplified. You can't fight against that propaganda machine. It's huge.
So there's this Israeli commando I've been talking to, and I've talked on the phone with before, and he was going to consider doing an interview, and then he said it's pointless. Everyone just turning into an empire of Nazis pushed by Nick Fuentes, Kanye West, Candace Owens, and more.
The first problem is that every American moron retard wants to talk about, and I even say this to people, it's always, oh, you're taking my tax money. Shut the f up, dude. You don't know where the f your tax money is. You wouldn't even know where your tax money is, where you don't even read any of the bills. You sign all the bills and then you want to pay more tax for gas, you want to do all this bullshit, but then when something big happens in the world, that's where my tax money is going. Shut the f up. Nobody knows where the their tax money's going.
Ian Carroll is one of the internet's top conspiracy analysts. His critics label him an anti-Semite spreading false information about Israel, but to others he is a fearless journalist that speaks on what some perceive as an extremely strong Zionist pressure on our government. Here's what he had to say.
There are 100 U.S. senators. Last year, 93 out of 100 U.S. senators were people whose campaigns had been funded by Israel, AIPAC, and the Israel lobby. 93 out of 100 U.S. senators were taking money from a group that represents a foreign government and foreign interests in order to operate our government on behalf of someone else. And they all work here, in this building.
You have people who have a particular point of view. In AIPAC's case, they're basically whatever Netanyahu does is right. That's their point of view. And they're saying, okay, if you don't take that view, we may come after you. We may have millions of dollars spent against you.
Now, ask any American content creator what the scariest subject to cover is, and the answer is Israel. Even YouTubers I know who support Israel say their channels were shadow banned for months after covering them. And folks, the plot around free speech thickens. News just broke that Larry Ellison, co-founder of Oracle, will be buying TikTok, a platform where young people can freely exchange unfiltered ideas. No Israel connection here, right? Wrong. Ellison is one of the IDF's largest private donors, giving the army tens of millions of dollars through Friends of the IDF, a non-profit that brands itself as a non-political, non-military organization, but somehow also is the official U.S. partner of Israel's soldiers.
Is it hard to trace who's getting money from AIPAC and how much?
It's pretty straightforward. You can tell, if their PAC makes a contribution to a candidate must report that and must report where it came from.
Can we see some of the numbers, like to what level AIPAC is funding our politicians?
AIPAC would fall under a what we call ideology single issue. So these are, groups that are focused in on particular issues.
So this is the top contributors for 2023-2024.
Yes.
So it's fair to say that actually the left was much more heavily funded across the board, and that if you break it down further to AIPAC, it was about, 25 million to the Democrats and about 17 million to the Republicans.
And you might have been wondering, who are all these senators that are taking money from the Israel lobby? Well, if you wanted a list of all-timers, our boy Joe Biden would be at the very top with 4.2 million during his career. But you'd also find Hillary Clinton, 2.3 million. You'd find Kamala Harris, 2.3 million. You might think, oh, Trump's not on there. No, that's just because he was never a senator. So you'd have to go to a different webpage to find that number.
So would someone like Miriam Adelson appear on a list like this?
Yes.
I'm curious what her figures are, because I've seen that it reported allegedly that between 100 million and 200 million plus to Trump from the Adelson family.
She was, in 2024, she was the number 3 donor, behind Musk and Mellon.
Miriam and Sheldon would come into the White House probably almost more than anybody.
The Adelsons are some of the wealthiest Jewish billionaires in the world. Now it is the Adelson, it's just Miriam. Her husband Sheldon died. They have a long, wealthy relationship with Donald Trump, a very long and wealthy relationship with Benjamin Netanyahu, as well as with anyone and everyone else that is associated with the Zionist project and Jewish causes.
This is Representative Nancy Mace of South Carolina, and according to Track AIPAC, she has taken about $130,000 from AIPAC-linked groups. Here's what she had to say.
No, compared to your colleagues, your Americans have a right to fear that AIPAC is too powerful, and that some people would say that it feels like we're almost controlled by Israel.
No.
One thing that really stood out to me was the Nasser Hospital, which, according to many reports, is one of the last functioning hospitals in Gaza. And there was a doctor from my hometown that served there as an American, and after he got back, shortly after, it got bombed twice.
Double tapped, some people say triple tapped. On live TV, they killed the rescuers and bombed them. The very stairs that I walked, the very people I worked with, medical students, journalists. It's a war crime on TV, but kind of the news cycle's over and we're past that.
You got to spend some time with IDF soldiers.
I did.
Did you feel they conducted themselves professionally, or did you feel like they had a callous attitude towards killing?
I felt they had a very, I would call it an inhumane approach to killing. When I first got into Gaza on the 24th of May, I was at site number 1 in an IDF infantry squad was moving past the area. He was like, hey, and he spoke in a Boston accent. I was like, oh, you're Israeli? And he was like, oh, I'm from Boston. I'm here serving in the IDF. An American serving in the IDF. And he was like, oh, you're part of the new American food thing? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, why are you feeding our enemies? And I was like, well, I think we're here to prevent Hamas from getting the food. And he was like, everybody here is our enemy.
What Anthony is pointing out is a little unsettling. There are Americans, not dual citizens, who go to Israel to serve in the IDF. I've personally spoken with 3 of them. And folks, to be precise, these guys are not acting as paid mercenaries. They are enlisting as soldiers in the IDF. Now, I can understand a Jewish American having a profound emotional tie to Israel, a nation central to their heritage, faith, and identity. But let's flip the perspective.
When you look at that in terms of, okay, what is a concentration camp? Well, when you take a population away from where they live, and you take the population away from where they live in the whole country, and you concentrate the entire population into one area, onto one camp, that is a concentration camp.
How much are you risking right now by coming out and speaking about this?
Everything. My reputation, my health, my safety, my future, everything that I worked for 25 years in uniform, to the reputation that I built in terms of being a patriot.
Why do you think the world is allowing this to happen?
Complacency.
Pallywood, it's a funny concept, and it's very creative, but I was there for 2 weeks, and hundreds of other physicians, surgeons, pediatricians, nurses, healthcare workers, aid workers from the West, from America, from the UK, from Australia, from Germany, were there. And to say we are all liars, and it's all Pallywood, and we are part of that Pallywood, is just obscene.
Was there another American political commentator recently speak on podcasts about the disruption and dissent against Netanyahu before October 7th?
Yeah.
Who was that?
Charlie Kirk.
There's many young men in America that are actually questioning, and I think have decent reason to ask, that Israel is on the suspect list of who killed Charlie Kirk.
It's really hard to get US politicians to speak about Israel or AIPAC. Many staffers shut us down the moment that we said we wanted to talk about those subjects, even if they previously said their senator was available for an interview. I mean, just watch this exchange on Breaking Points with Michigan Senator Elisa Slotkin.
Do you think AIPAC should register as a foreign lobby?
I don't know the answer to that. I think that I know plenty of people who think they should. I don't.
It's kind of a cop-out.
You gotta get your facts straight.
Senator Slotkin has taken $656,000 from AIPAC-linked groups, so it's no wonder she dodged these questions, and she's not alone. This is how the vast majority of our politicians are operating right now, and it just makes this whole thing weird, because if this is the right move and Israel is truly our greatest ally, then why are they so afraid to speak on it? It doesn't make any sense.
We were just talking to a lot of senators' teams, and they said, yeah, you can talk to the senator, but one thing you cannot ask about is Israel. What's your take on that?
Well, I think for a lot of our elected politicians, Israel is a sensitive subject. That's concerning, because I think that when you ask somebody, what can I not talk about, the answer is, then you know who controls you. We can't talk about Israel. Why not? We give them our tax dollars. We fight in their wars. Is it money? Is it religion? Is it politics? Is it power? Is it a combination of all of them? I don't know. But in my mind, there is not a dollar amount on the planet worth turning a cheek to a genocide.
Israel is an extremely useful asset to have in the Middle East.
Every president in recent memory, from Obama to Bush to Trump to Clinton, says Israel is our greatest ally. Why do you think they say that?
Israel has been a staunch ally in the Middle East. They continue to be that way. But what has happened with the state of Israel is it has come under the control of a right-wing extremist who's not interested in peace. And that has led this country to where it is now committing genocide.
Are they our asset, or are we theirs, or a combination?
Isn't that the question? The Zionists would say that it's a partnership, right? The Zionists would say that we love Israel and Israel loves us, and we support each other, and we both promote Western values, and we're both, he's the only democracy in the Middle East, right? Sort of. Assets are relationships based on manipulation, coercion, control, inherently. Allies is a relationship built on friendship and shared growth and shared gain, and ally
is a word that I would not use to describe Israel. Do allies spy on each other secretly? Maybe. Do allies spy on the terrorists that conducted 9/11 and then not tell you what they're seeing? Maybe. Do allies send Jeffrey Epstein into the White House 17 times to apparently develop a relationship with the President of the United States and then probably blackmail him? Definitely not.